Hi everybody, Deanna back here again. And today we're going to be working on a 12 by 12 shadow box layout, and it's for St. Patrick's Day. And I know St. Patrick's Day is a month away, but I like to be about a month ahead of my holidays, just so I have it ready and I don't have to worry about it. And I have a couple already because I've been doing these for years. So I have a couple of stacks of a variety of shadow box layouts because for some reason I just don't like reusing the ones if I don't have to. I like creating new ones because that brings me happiness. So today we're going to be using some older Authentique, and they're from Iberia Charmed Life. And we're going to be using the cutout sheet here. And let me see if I can find the number on that. It was CHA006. I also used this one, and that is CHA003. And this one, which is CHA005. These are just, I had a couple sheets of each, and I had a lot more of these than anything. So that is what I went with. It's just what I had left over in my stock. And I'm sure they have a new line out for this year. They usually do. I couldn't tell you the name of it because I have not looked into that. So basically what I did was I cut 6 squares that were 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. This base here I left at 12 by 12. 6 of these at 3 3/4 by 3 3/4, and then also 6 of these that are 3 1/2 by 3 1/2. And then I just glued these together. And I just eyeballed these. I didn't use a ruler or anything. I just eyeballed it because it's just going to leave like an 1/8 of an inch edge all the way around. And I pre-glued all my other ones just to save us some time today. But I wanted to do one with you together. So that's how I did those 6. Now the middle one, and you could put this up or down. I just chose the middle. That one is 10 3/4 long on the green by 3 3/4 high. And the gold paper is 10 1/2 by 3 1/2. And that I already pre-glued. I also had a horseshoe shape of wood. It was just from my stash, probably from Hobby Lobby, I think. And I just took the paper and I drew it on the paper and cut it out so I had something to cover my horseshoe. And I love that plaid. I thought that was very cute. So we're just going to glue that on. And for the edge of the horseshoe, the wooden part, I just took my permanent marker and I just wrote along the whole edge. That was the easiest way to do that rather than painting. So we're just going to lay this on there and let that dry. Okay. And we're going to get some of these things together prior to. This is just a pack of shamrocks or clovers. And those are also from Hobby Lobby Craft Area, but those are from last year. I did not purchase anything this year. And usually when I buy them, I usually have a few. So we're just going to kind of, whoops, running into my lettering. Put that down like that. There. So that one's ready to go when we are. Now I'm going to actually slide some of these things off to the side here so we can get these glued down. And then I'll explain about them as we go along. So I'm going to lower that. I'm going to bring in my ruler. And I'm going to set this up so I have 1/4 of an inch. So you can see it too. There we go. I want 1/4 of an inch along that top edge. So I'm going to bring it so I can see that it's 1/4 of an inch. I'm also going to make sure that my line here's match up so that I can come in 1/4 of an inch at the same time. All right, so there we go. So we're going to take one of these. And this helps square it up a little bit. And these see-through rulers, and this one's very flexible. It just makes it so much nicer to work in. So I'm going to come up to this corner. I'm going to match up 1/4 of an inch in and allow the top of the ruler to be my guide. And then we're just going to press that down. Now some shadow boxes that are out there have like a frame part that comes down, and that will also be probably, some of them are about 1/8 of an inch, I think, thick. So you gotta, if you have one of those type, you gotta keep that in mind if you have that type. The shadow box, this will go in, if it's in my room, it doesn't have it. I use Velcro, little tiny Velcro strips to hold them in. So most of mine on the back have Velcro strips on them, depending on what frame I'm going to use them. And I have one in my room that is Velcro, and I have one in my room that has that lip to hold things in. Okay, again, we're going to come in here, make sure 1/4 of an inch is lined up. And we're going to use that 1/4 inch mark on the right side. Let the ruler hold the top. There we go. Okay, so these are each 1/4 of an inch in by 1/4 of an inch down. Now this one will not be able to get 1/4 of an inch. So we're just going to use the top edge of the ruler for our height, and we're just going to center that with our eye. And I think it ends up being about 1/8 of an inch. But we're just going to use our eye and center that up. But we will use the top of the ruler, so I'm going to keep that lined up there. Slide that over. There. Looks pretty good. Okay, there we go. Now, we can decorate that while we still got all that fresh in our mind. So we're going to put that back. These were just cut out from those tags. I did a lot of fussy cutting on this. And they were just cut out from the tags. So, oops, the wrong tags here. They were cut out from these tags here. I did the gold, the Irish, and the rainbow one, which is right here. And then our center one was fussy cut from this panel here. So, and I'm going to pop that up on Pop Dots here. So we'll get those out. Here we go. All right. All right. So let's do that center one since we got our Pop Dots out. And I am not Irish, but I think most people that celebrate it are not. But all right, there we go. We got all that stuff off. So let's just center that and press that down. And I have one from last year I can show you in a minute here that I have out. Alright, we're going to kind of put that like that. Again, keeping, if you're using something like this, keep in mind if you have to save that edge. The shadow box this is going in, I don't have to worry about that. But always keep that in mind. If you do. Okay. So let's see here. All right. So let's, I'm going to actually kind of green up these edges here. And this is just a cat's eye. These are always on my desk in one of my containers, just so that I have something handy all the time. I used to have my other inkers on the table too, but when I redid my craft room, I moved them off to another table because it gives me a little bit more workspace here. My work table here is 4 by 4, but it has another area for a guest to work on over on the other side. And sometimes I'm taking up both sides because I'm working on more than one project. All right. Listed a gold up there, and we're going to give that about a, not quite 1/8 of an inch around there. And then I think I want to make sure that I got these positioned so that this is going to show. And the whole thing doesn't have to show. All right, it's about right there. Kind of space them apart a little bit. And I didn't know quite what I was going to go for with this when I started working on it, and I just started putzing with it and fussy cutting and doing all that stuff. Now this I think I'm also going to put up on a pop dot, but let's just cut some slivers here, I think. Oh, let's do it from the top. Here we go. And I can go about that wide. Maybe even a little bit long. Whoops, sorry. I'm just cutting a sliver off the top. All this extra material, when you get pop dots, all this extra material can be used. I cut it up and use it. I don't waste it. All right, I'm going to put you there. Pull that off. I'm just going to give this just a little bit extra glue on there. And then we're going to kind of put that on an angle. There we go. So those three are glued on. We're all set there. So I'm going to take this off here and slide it to the side. These items here I'm going to set off to the side. We're going to take this and we're going to flip it to the top. And we're going to do the same to this as we did the other one. So I'll be in view for you. And we're going to go 1/4 of an inch down. I'm going to make sure my lines match up so the dark lines on my ruler, I can see 1/4 of an inch edge coming in. And we're just going to glue these down. Now, I have one on my Cricut that I cut some of these out with. These I cut out by hand. I did not cut these with my Cricut. I cut these out on my trimmer. Whoops, my ruler's moving there. But I do have one set up for Speedwise in my Cricut, and I just created that and I saved that. And then when I cut it out, I have them all lined up perfect, and then I can use that. I have, some people have trouble keeping things even, so I use those templates for them to be able to line up their squares straight on their paper rather than doing it this way. It just makes it easy for them. All right, there we go. Let's bring our ruler back down, make sure we're at 1/4 of an inch. Again, the same with these as the other one. We're going to center this because we will not have 1/4 of an inch on each side, just at the top. So we're going to use the ruler as our guide to keep it straight. and we're going to eyeball it. It should be approximately 1/8 of an inch on each side. In fact, it looks like exact by my ruler here. All right, but it's easier just to eyeball it there. There we go. All right. So let's tip this back up the way it's supposed to be. And make sure you're in view here. Now this one I fussy cut, and he was also from these tags here, these bingo tags. And I just fussy cut around him so I could use them on this thing here. All right. Now I want him in the center one. And this is nothing fancy, but you can bling this up as much as you want. We might add a little extra bling just because we can. All right, so he's there. I just love when they use the vintage children on things. That is just my favorite. And I had a couple more of these clovers here, shamrocks, whatever you want to call them. I wish they were 4-leaf, but they're not. They're 3-leaf, but that's all right. And I don't buy a lot of stickers. I have a few, but I very seldom buy stickers. But you can buy, if you don't have the machine and stuff, you can buy stickers to do basically these same type of things. So there we go. Now this was from that other paper. This came from here, and all I did was trim it down. I didn't need it that big, so I trimmed it down. And then the lips are cut from my Cricut. But I know at the stores they have all kinds of lips, and that's just to symbolize "Kiss Me, I'm Irish." So we're gonna pop that up on pop dots there. I'm still kind of struggling with this cold, so if my voice sounds funny, that is why. It's not a terrible cold, other than just a little funny sounding. I really haven't had many other symptoms. Thank goodness. Thank God. Yeah. All right. And same with my granddaughter, who I got it from. Thankfully, it didn't go down in her chest or anything either. It's just been kind of more of a head cold type thing. All right. And we got to remember, if you've got one of those that's got the edge there, you want to stay away from there. All right, I think just like that. All right. You see, it's got dimension. And this was just some gold cardstock I had on hand. It's just, oh, I don't know, maybe it's from, it might be from Hobby Lobby, but that's all that is. And then this was cut out also from that same sheet. I just fussy cut around it. So we're going to put that up on pop dots. I should have had these already put on pop dots for you, huh? I could have just been pulling off the adhesive and moving right along, but that's all right. This shouldn't be a terribly long video anyway, so. All right, and then just one in the middle. There we go. And I'm only putting so many on because of the size of this. And we're gonna actually tip that, so because there's a little saying on there, we'll just tip that way. There we go. Now for our center. We slide these things off here, and we'll get that glued down. And this should be, and I think we can just eyeball this because the other two are already in place. Like I said, I glued everything together except for the one just to show you what I was doing. Otherwise, I had them all pre-glued before this video because I like to keep it moving along. And I think you don't need to have repetitive too much. So I'm going to kind of slide that under there because that's mounted up. And I'm going to, looks like I'm going to get about a 1/2 inch from this on each side here. And about 1/4 inch there. All right. Okay. This will be nice and stiff when it goes in because of all the layers, especially this glitter cardstock was pretty heavy. Now for this, whoops, let me see if I can get it here. I cut out this banner. You can do it by hand and use a string. I also cut out the separate words. I fussy cut them out for the top of my banner. This little guy here, I fussy cut out of this one. Like I said, I just love these little vintage children. Okay, so let's glue down our letters. And I don't do a ton of fussy cutting, but I thought it would look good on this thing here. All right. Get that glue out of there. Okay. There we go. My goodness. Didn't use as much glue and I still ended up with glue squeezing out there. Okay. Hopefully my fingers aren't in the way too much. Let me clean off this bottle here. Starting to get a little gooped up there. All right. Very quiet here today. It's Saturday. My husband's had to work today. No grandbabies yet. And no TV on in the other room. All right. So we got those glued down. All right. So I want to meet this up in this corner here and bring it down there because we're going to put the word St. Patrick's there. And I want to make sure that this little guy will cover that. There we go. So I think just like that. It's going to be perfect. Now this was, I cut this on my Cricut, and this was a lot wider, and I didn't like that, so I did trim that down, but this was cut out on my Cricut. I also have a die that I can cut out one on, but I already had my Cricut out and was using it, so that's why I did that. So I'm going to go back up in this corner here, drop this down. And tack it, there we go. And this little guy. All right. And he is going to cover that up. Just like that. All right. I think when I get all these things laid out here, now I fussy cut out a pair of boots. They were right down here on this. So let's just place those right in there. Now for the St. Patrick's, I saved my cutout so I can bring it in and use it as a guide. It's my template to make sure that my words, I think it'll make it easier. We're going to try it. It usually does, but sometimes not. Sometimes these are pretty small. So we're going to try it that way. If it doesn't work, then I'm going to do it a different way. Okay. So I'm going to hold that, put my letter back in there, and press it down. I'm just going to use a little. And this is just a template to guide me. I don't want that to glue in there. And actually, maybe I'll just put a little glue on with that, where I can see it. Grab my T here. And these, like I said, are kind of small. So, boy, that's a lot of glue. All right, so we're just going to slide that in there. And you could cut it bigger. You can cut it bigger, but I didn't have the room for it. Yeah, see, that's not going to work very good. And I'm just going to ignore that phone because I am not stopping my video. We are close to the end. I will see who it was when I'm done. All right. So here we go with this. And we're going to put a little dot there for the saint part. I'm going to just grab that with my blade here, I think. And, whoops, it's got to go this way. Not close enough. There we go. Down in there. Mark. There we go. All right. And this one we got to leave a little opening because of the hole in the P. Oh. Someone really wants to get a hold of me, don't they? They will just have to wait just a couple minutes. All right, I'm going to have to grab that. Okay. It was my son. I will call him back in a little bit. All right. Another T. Okay. These letters are so thin. Here we go. Just a tiny amount here. All right. There we go. And it probably might be faster to do it just by placing them down. But this just helps me make sure I get them lined up pretty good. All right. Get that lined up there. And if you don't have a Cricut or another cutting machine that you can cut these out with, like I said, you can buy the stickers and they work just as good. And there's so many patterns out there that you have tons of choices on your font that makes it nice. You can choose. And most of your bigger stores, I know Hobby Lobby carries quite a few of them, and Michael's carries some. So I don't know if Joann's does or not. Okay. But I know Hobby Lobby has lots of stickers. Seems like they're all kind of downsizing a little bit. I have just one little thing left here, and that's the dot for this eye. See if I can pick it up with my... There we go. There. So this is a 12 by 12 St. Patrick's layout here. And last year's, what did I do with last year's? Oh, here it is. This is the one I did last year. And a lot of this was cut out from the Cricut. But yeah, that was last year's. I like to change them up. And if you want, you could add more bling and stuff, but I think that is going to be perfect for this year. And I hope you attempt to work on some shadow boxes. I like them. I get to change out my view of my frame, so makes nice changeable art. And I hope you will consider subscribing to my channel. If you do, make sure you hit that bell to be notified when I put up a new video. And a thumbs up is always appreciated. And until the next time, I will be crafting, and I hope you will too. Have a good day.